Why are you licking me? Hey guys, and welcome back. Today I am with you from inside my bathtub because I'm going to share with you today on information regarding whether or not you should give your ferrets a bath. So when it comes to giving your ferret a bath, it's actually recommended that you don't bathe them very often. Every time you give a ferret a bath, it actually strips their coats of the natural oils that their skin produces. So a healthy ferret's skin and coat actually produce natural oils, just like hair on a human. Your hair or your scalp will actually produce oils itself. People actually mistakenly give their ferrets baths more often because they try to get rid of that musky smell that ferrets have, which I actually enjoy the smell that they have. Yeah, you stink, but you stink in a good way. I mean, it kind of makes sense. You would think baths make things cleaner, so giving your ferret a bath more often should make them smell less, when in fact it actually does the opposite. The more often you want to get down, the more often that you actually bathe your ferret, the smellier they can actually be. Because what happens is, what happens is when you give them a bath, you are actually stripping their coat and the fur of these natural oils. And when you strip their fur and coat, stop it. I have an escapee. You hang with me for a little bit. And when you strip their skin and coats of these natural oils, their body actually works that much harder to reproduce these oils again. And when they try to reproduce these oils, they're actually going to end up overproducing these oils much more than if you would have just left their coat alone and not giving them a bath. And these oils is what tends to give them their musky smell. So doing that actually gives them more oils, therefore making them more smelly. And again, smell is in the eye of the beholder, because me, just like lots of people, don't mind the smell. My guys don't really smell very much at all, do you? No, you're not very stinky. Not very stinky at all. Now, this is not to say that you should never ever give your ferret a bath. There are going to be times that your ferret is going to need baths. So if they end up getting into something stinky or something happens, you might have to give them a bath. For instance, our video where we do painting with our ferrets, where we get little paint on their little paws and let them walk on canvas, so we got our little picture of all their little paw prints, we obviously had to give them a bath because we didn't want to leave paint on their paw prints. But other than that, we very rarely give them baths. They probably get actual baths. Oh, are you licking me? Are you licking me? You're so lovely. You're so lovely. Oh. But we honestly only probably give them baths at the most maybe 4 times a year. But they probably only get actual baths 2 or 3 times a year. Now, we do let them play in the water sometimes, and so sometimes if they just get a little dirt on them, sometimes just a little bit in the water will help, and not being in soap or anything, that'll keep them from stripping the oils in their coat, which again will keep them from smelling even worse, and again keeps their coats very nice and healthy and pretty. Right? Are you pretty? He's like, Mom, I'm a boy, I am not pretty. Now, a lot of people wonder, if you do give your ferrets a bath, what should you use? They do make ferret shampoos, but a lot of people would actually not recommend these. I don't usually recommend them. You definitely don't want to use dog or cat shampoos. Those would definitely be too harsh for them. Now, one of the things I've seen recommended that would probably be okay for them is baby shampoo. Baby shampoo for humans is made in a way that's very sensitive, so that would probably be okay for them. But the way that I would highly recommend doing is actually an oatmeal bath. So this is just plain oatmeal, plain dry oatmeal. And what you would do is you would fill your bathtub up, so the nice bathtub I'm sitting in, and you take your oatmeal and you actually fill a sock with the oatmeal, so nice clean sock. And bear with me, I got ferrets on me. We're gonna put oatmeal in the sock and all over me. All right, oatmeal in the sock. And then you can tie your sock. And after you fill your bathtub with water, you can throw your little sock of oatmeal just in the bath with the water, and that should do for a bath. Again, they shouldn't need very much in actual washing. When we give them a bath, that's all I do is just a little oatmeal bath like that. And again, my guys smell amazing. When we take them on outings, again, they go camping and hiking, and I'm just outings with us all the time. Most people who want to pet and hold them, the very first thing they do with them is take them to their nose and smell them. Yeah, I'm sure you don't like it. And it's kind of a weird thing, but I get it. One of the common myths on ferrets is that they're very smelly creatures, and they really, really aren't. Again, a lot of people think ferrets smell, and usually it's their own fault because they've accidentally given them too many baths. And usually they do that because they think ferrets smell, and so they start the process of giving them baths, which causes them to start to smell because they're overproducing the oils in the skin. So they start to smell more, and then they give them another bath to get rid of that smell, which dries the skin out even further, so it even overproduces the oils even more, which gets even smellier, and then we give them another bath, and it's basically a never-ending cycle of a really, really stinky ferret. Stinky ferret? Are you a stinky ferret? I know, you're just being a very sleepy ferret. So my number one tip to not having a smelly ferret is don't give them baths. Now, usually when you bring a ferret home for the first time, especially like from a pet store or sometimes from a bad circumstance, usually you're gonna have to give them one initial bath. That is also one of the reasons why people have the misconception that these little guys smell. Usually the way pet stores keep them is one of the reasons why they smell at pet stores. So when you go to pet stores and visit them and pet them and play with them, they do tend to be stinky there. The way that their enclosures are, it's like an aquarium tank type habitat for them, which most people don't recommend for ferrets. It doesn't allow for good circulation of air to get in there, and they have usually like a bedding throughout the whole thing. So like in our cage, we have a litter type bedding in just their litter boxes and then fleece throughout the rest of it. Everyone's digging. What are you guys doing? So the difference is my boys tend to potty in their litter box and mostly not potty everywhere else. While at the pet stores, to them it's like a gigantic litter box because there's there's like litter, at least whatever the pet store uses, the ferret sees litter throughout the whole thing. So they just potty everywhere throughout the enclosure, and then they walk through and lay in all of this litter, which causes them usually to smell. And again, it's not really anyone's fault, but that's why usually if you go to pet stores, a lot of those ferrets will smell just because they're kind of laying in their own feces and urine, unfortunately. So usually when ferrets come home for the first time, I would definitely recommend a bath that one time just to get rid of that initial smell from that. But after that, they should not need baths more than a few times a year, I would say. I think I've read online that people say definitely no more than once a month. I would even say that's way too much. But again, it's probably gonna depend on your circumstances. So if you are not bathing your little ferret that much and you do still find that you have a stinky ferret and you're keeping up on cage cleaning obviously is gonna be your number 2 way to keep them smell free, because if you let them roam around in their own feces and urine, whether it's in the litter box or dirty bedding, that's gonna cause them to be smelly. But the third thing is actually their diet. And I plan on doing a video on the best ferret diets out there in the future. But the better diet you can get for them, the less they will actually smell. Ferrets, being obligate carnivores, are actually supposed to be only meat eaters. So a lot of the actual ferret-based foods out there that are targeted for ferrets are not good for them at all. So when you're feeding them those kind of stuff, that actually can cause them to smell a lot, and also have a lot to do with how nice their coats are. When we got Hokey was not on a very good diet, and he was almost pretty bald and had definitely a smell to him. But after he switched over to our food, he's got a very, if you can see, fluffy coat now, and he's actually been shedding a little bit, so it's not quite as fluffy because we're going from winter to spring here in Michigan, so he has lost some of his fluffiness, but he was almost balding, and you can see just by changing the diet how much nicer his coat looks. I don't have really any video footage of how badly he looked when we got him, but he looks so much better now, huh? Huh, my little old man? Little old man just wants down. So that's basically all I had for you today, was wanting to tell you that if you have to bathe your ferret, not to bathe them very often. And if you do bathe them, make sure not to use a very strong shampoo. So again, a sock filled with oatmeal usually works just fine. If not, usually a human grade baby shampoo will work as well. All right, so I think the boys are getting pretty bored and playing in just the bathtub for right now. So if you'd like to see more ferret care type videos, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to our channel, please subscribe and hit that little notification bell so you can get notifications and when we put out new videos. Thanks for watching.